work-based learning isn't as straightforward as everybody thinks. Even just reminding the apprentice every now and then that they're a worker and a student, not just a worker. So you've got to remember those educational things that you've got to do as well. And also reminding the boss every now and then that, hey, you've signed on to actually train as well. So there's some parts of your job where you have to be a bit more in depth. Maybe you've got to, give a bit more time. Maybe it might take a bit longer to line this wall because you're stopping and you're teaching the apprentice what to do. So negotiating that space can be tricky, but it's part of the job. And I think it's something that, we really want to work towards mastering, I guess, in every kind of environment that we get to.
So, for instance, sit-out is one of the goals she needs to get signed off, and I don't really have much sit-out work coming in at the moment. So we're going to organise a day to go to a car park and do a mock-up of sit-out. So that's one of the goals that we can get signed off of Desiree's list. And I find it very, very helpful that Way are going out of their way to make sure that Desiree's getting signed off on her units that I can't get signed off for her.
What makes the best teacher, I think, is when you can figure out how your apprentice learns the best, like how they can pick things up faster, like what works for the apprentice. So I think us saying that I needed my space and let me figure it out, like that's me letting him know how I learn. Give me a short brief and let me, because I like to use my own brain. I don't want him to tell me how to do the whole job every time, it's like, So that's me communicating how I learn best, is a bit of a breakdown, but then let me figure the rest out, the details out, Of
course. Well, you're an apprentice that I could comfortably leave on jobs like that, say Charlie first year, bit different, you know what I mean? So you're kind of at the situation where, you're almost done.
It's one of the best ways to see progression, when you see them taking on more stuff, you see yourself taking on more stuff. And maybe when you are consulting with David, it's more a confirmation or affirmation of what you've done rather than how you do it. This is what I've done.
That's it. That's exactly it. That's what we've talked about.
Done anyway.
Yeah, we've talked about that. Definitely.
It is different because I came from a classroom-based educational background, and that learning space is very different to work-based learning. And so one of the things is you've got to be ready for every single site you go to be a sort of different context altogether, because a lot of it does depend on the dynamic between the boss or the evaluator and the apprentice and how they're sorting out their working environment and their learning environment, and then you trying to figure out how you can add to that space in a good way. And so a lot of the learning environments become a real challenge, but also something really cool.
Everybody gets the same sort of treatment, I guess. And that everybody's personalities kind of bounce off each other's, and, what they lack in, they will make up for. And, kind of one of Desiree's sayings, like straighten each other's crowns. So if someone's lagging, well, not as good at something as the other, we'll make sure that other's going to bring that other one up to standard, Yeah,
that's one thing you do find with apprentices, is oftentimes, especially 2-3 years, you're better than you think. You're actually a lot better than you think. You know a lot more than you think. And so sometimes you always like, you're not, but then you realise, oh shucks, you're actually pretty on to it. You know your stuff.
The opposite, though.
Yeah.
I actually think I'm better than I am.
Oh,
Sometimes
hey, mate.
I do.
Sometimes it's better to rein in confidence than try and teach it.
Yeah, true that. So when I get qualified, immediately I want pay rise. Well, that's the first goal. I mean,
yeah.
First thing everyone asks for.
That'll be there.
Just have my own site and my own little crew. Still under Dave for a while, but eventually I want to get off the tools and project manage.
It's always exciting when somebody's about to finish. Like I was saying, or like I mentioned before, the learning spaces in general provide lots of moments for inspiration and to stand back and be really appreciative of what's going on. And I think we get that quite a bit in this space. We get to see people not only progressing in their apprenticeship, but when they come out of it, I think one of the coolest things about it is that with New Zealand Certificate in Carpentry Level 4, the world is your oyster. There's actually so much you can do with a trade qualification. You know, you can disappear and try something else out and you've still got all that knowledge, that skill, that qualification in your back pocket. You can go overseas and you can use it. You can use it to build up communities if you're going to, you know, go build houses in places that, you know, other people don't want to build houses. And there's so much you can do with that. And so I think one of the things we see the most, or I enjoy the most when somebody's about to finish their apprenticeship, is just, man, the potential to blow up and just to do some crazy things, some amazing things. Do like David over here, you know, the whole thing, he's been an apprentice, he's been a builder, and now he owns his own company. You know, when I talk to my apprentices, that's one of the things I always tell them is the why not? Why can't it be you that's out there running these big jobs and scoring these huge contracts and starting these huge companies? Why can't it be you that builds out in a rural community and, you know, puts that whole community back on their feet with employment and things like that? There's so much you can do. And it all comes from this certificate that a lot of people think is the second choice education, you know, but it's, man, you can blow up.